All praise is due to Allah, the Most High and Exalted. He is the one who brought all creation into existence. He is the most majestic, and His attributes are perfect in every way. His decrees and preordainment demonstrate His infinite wisdom and His perfect actions. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah alone without any partner. There is none that is similar to Him, and He is exalted above every imperfection. I further bear witness that Muhammad is His worshipping servant, chosen messenger, and seal of the prophets. Allah sent Him as the final messenger to all of creation in order to lead them to guidance. O Allah, send salah and salam upon this noble messenger, as well as upon his family, companions, and all who follow their path. Servants of Allah, observe taqwa of Allah as He rightfully deserves. Be ashamed of having Him see you doing wrong. Protect your head and stomach from letting anything bad into them. Remember that you will eventually pass away. When someone desires the hereafter, he would not be attached to the luxuries of this world. Allah said, people of Iman, observe taqwa of Allah as He rightfully deserves, and ensure that you do not die except submitting to Allah and Islam. Dear Muslims, it will be a truly praiseworthy and remarkable thing for a servant of Allah to remain certain in life that whatever struck him was not decreed to miss him, whatever missed him was not decreed to strike him, and that all things in this creation happen in accordance with Allah's knowledge and decree. Realizing this brings a person tranquility, solace, and peace of mind. It brings about an increase in his taqwa of Allah, trust in Him, and reliance upon Him. These are benefits gleaned from having the correct belief about Allah's decree, which is a pillar of Iman and one of the most important foundations of our religion. Allah would not accept any obligatory or optional deed from a person if he lacks the correct belief concerning it. Thus, a servant of Allah needs to have sound belief in Allah's decree alive within his heart, and he must bear in mind what it means throughout his life. Doing that makes a person's soul pleased with Allah, pleasing to Allah, keen to do what is constructive, and desirous of attaining all that leads to its betterment in this world and the hereafter. In light of that, we should realize that the correct belief about Allah's decree is the core around which revolve a person's sincerity to his Lord, knowledge about his Lord, and recognition of his Lord's majestic and perfect attributes. However, there are many people who are overtaken by panic, anger, and even objection towards certain things Allah decrees. Some people fail from the very onset of an adversity, while others claim that there is no divine decree and that all things just happen in a random manner. They believe in the doubts that Shaitan sows in their minds. Their resulting confusion leads them as far as leveling accusations against Allah and saying that His decrees are at fault. Such people do not grasp the infinite wisdom of Allah and His actions. Because of Shaitan's promptings, they do not give Allah the rights or reverence which He deserves. Having the correct belief about Allah's decrees and preordainment leads to the salvation and happiness which are absent from the lives of many who are confused and have lost hope. In contrast, a person who has Iman knows for sure, without any doubt, that Allah decreed all things which take place throughout this entire creation, whether good, bad, major, or minor. Allah's infinite knowledge encompassed every detail about each one of them even before they came into existence. Then Allah ordered the pen to record in the preserved tablet all things that would exist and happen, no matter how great or small. Thereafter, all events and decrees took place in succession by Allah's will and permission. He creates and brings them into existence. He creates things and brings them into existence, all in complete conformity with the decrees that were recorded, and nothing beyond those decrees takes place. Allah, who is perfect in every way, said, we did not neglect to record anything in the preserved tablet. Allah also said, we most certainly created all things by our decree and preordainment. In addition, Allah said, and the command of Allah is a decree preordained. Furthermore, as in the well-known hadith of Jibreel, the Prophet ﷺ stated that one of the rudimentary foundations of Iman is the correct belief about Allah's decree, Al-Qadr, whether good or bad, sweet or bitter. Additionally, there is an authentic hadith in Jami' at-Tirmidhi in which the Prophet ﷺ said, no servant of Allah has proper Iman until he believes that all decrees, both good and bad, are from Allah, and until he knows that what struck him was not decreed to miss him, and what missed him was not decreed to strike him. The Prophet ﷺ would plant the correct beliefs about Allah's decree within the souls of the young, even before the adults. There is a remarkable hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ gave very profound words of advice to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma while he was still quite young. Among those words was his statement, you must realize that even if everyone came together to benefit you in any way, they would not benefit you except with what Allah had written for you. And if they came together to harm you in any way, they would not harm you except with what Allah had written against you. The pens have been lifted and the pages have dried. This was collected by Ahmad and at-Tirmidhi. In addition, when Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu was still young, the Prophet ﷺ told him, if you spent in Allah's path an amount of gold equivalent to the size of the mountain Uhud, Allah would not accept it from you until you believe in Al-Qadr, until you know that what struck you was not decreed to miss you, and what missed you was not decreed to strike you. If you die with a belief besides that, you would surely enter the hellfire. This hadith is sahih and was collected by Ahmad. Furthermore, Abu Darda radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, a person will not enter Jannah if he mistreats his parents, is addicted to intoxicants, or denies Allah's decree. Dear people of Iman, one of the extraordinary and remarkable aspects of Allah's decree, which emphasizes Allah's magnificence and which also requires that we think about it carefully, is the fact that Allah recorded the decree of everything concerning His creation 50,000 years before He created the heavens and the earth, and His throne was above water. This is collected in Sahih Muslim. When Allah first created the pen, He commanded it to write. It replied, my Lord, what should I write? Allah said, write the decree of all things until the final hour. This was collected by Abu Dawood. Allah knows all that the land and sea contain. Not even a single leaf falls without His knowledge. There is no seed in the darkness of the earth, and nothing moist or dry except that it is written in a clear record. Allah knows the decree and measure of everything, no matter how large or small. He knows all that has happened, all that will happen, and even how things that He did not decree would happen if they were to actually take place. The precise details about all of that were written in the preserved tablet, even before any of it came into being. Allah, who is perfect in every way, said, no adversity takes place upon the earth or within yourselves without it already being written in the preserved tablet even before we bring it into existence. That is certainly easy for Allah to do. Thereafter, Allah brought into existence all the various events He decreed. He made them happen according to what was written with Him, without anything changing. This is one of the greatest evidences which prove His uluhiyyah, rububiyyah, complete knowledge, and infinite ability. It proves that He is the only one who deserves to be worshipped, implored, relied upon completely, and asked for help. His knowledge and ability encompass all things. Nothing in this world escapes Him. Nothing happens without His knowledge and permission. He is perfect in every way. His wisdom astounds our minds, and His decrees amaze people of deep understanding. Even the most articulate of tongues fail to express the true extent of that. And the intellects of his creatures fall short of completely grasping all the facets of his actions and preordainment. That is so you would know that Allah is able to do all things, and that Allah encompasses all things by His knowledge. An Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah said lines of poetry about Allah, and their meaning is to the effect of, whatever you will takes place, even if I do not will it. Whatever I will does not take place unless you will it to happen. You created all your servants, both young and elderly, with your complete knowledge. Some you blessed and some you did not. Some you assisted and some you did not. Some will be miserable while others will be fortunate. Some may be unsightly while others are pleasing. Dear Muslims, the decree which Allah recorded in the preserved tablet is comprehensive and applies to all things and people. It remains fixed and none of it gets changed or erased. In addition to that comprehensive decree, there is a decree specific to each individual for the duration of his life in this world, and that is recorded when he is still in his mother's womb. Before the soul is blown into his body, Allah sends an angel and instructs him to record the person's provision, lifespan, deeds, and whether he will be miserable or fortunate. There is also a decree which applies to each year, and it takes place during Laylatul Qadr of every year. The decrees pertaining to that year are sent down from the preserved tablet, and they include people's livelihoods, the events that will happen to them, those who will pass away, and those who will live to the following year. There is also a decree which applies to each day concerning all that takes place throughout creation. Allah said, each day He has a matter He brings about. The Prophet ﷺ explained, among the matters Allah brings about are that He forgives sins, relieves distress, raises some people, and lowers others. This hadith is sahih and was collected by Ibn Majah. There's also an authentic narration from Ibn Abbas which states, each day Allah takes 360 looks in the preserved tablet. Each day Allah takes 360 looks in the preserved tablet. With each look He creates, gives life, causes death, honors, humiliates, and does what He wills. This was collected with a Hasan chain of narration by Tabarani. When someone believes in all of Allah's decrees and is pleased with what Allah has ordained, that person's heart will become filled with contentment, tranquility, penitence, and love for Allah. Furthermore, Allah would keep that person focused, and the affairs of this world shall be compelled to fall into place for him. On the other hand, if someone lacks the correct belief about Allah's decrees, Allah would shatter that person's affairs and place poverty between his two eyes. He would remain imprisoned by doubts, distress, and sorrows. He would always be troubled and agitated in life, and he would not receive Allah's kindness during times of hardship. This is similar to what happened with Iblis when he objected to his Lord's command and was upset with him for favoring Adam alayhi salam, and Iblis refused to bow to Adam. As a result, Allah expelled Iblis from the heavens and said to him, "You must leave this place, disgraced and expelled." Maintaining firm belief in Allah's decree and being pleased with what Allah ordains fosters certainty within a person of Iman. It gives him certainty that all things throughout this creation lie in Allah's hand, and that Allah is the only one who owns all things and is in full control of them. Furthermore, all creatures are weak and they do not control, not even for themselves, benefits, harms, death, life, or resurrection. Thus, a person of Iman is someone who would live his life having peace of mind, a tranquil soul, and full trust in Allah. Such a person would not be constantly afraid. Rather, he will be diligent and productive, which would contribute to leading a life that is honorable and constructive. These are the results of having the correct belief about Allah's decree ingrained in one's heart, mind, and soul. The correct belief teaches a person that all things are by Allah's decree. Just as Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, all things happen by Allah's decree, even ability and inability. That also applies to affluence, poverty, health, illness, victory, and defeat. Allah said, you, the Prophet ﷺ, do not perform any deed or recite any portion of the Quran, and you, mankind, do not perform any deed except that we, Allah, are witnesses to it when you were doing it. Nothing is concealed from your Lord, even if it is as minute as a tiny ant, whether in the earth or in the heavens. There is nothing smaller or larger than it except that it is written in a clear record. May Allah bless us all by the glorious Quran and allow us to glean benefit from the ayat and wisdom it contains. I say this much, and I implore Allah to forgive me, you, and all Muslims for every misdeed. Thus ask His forgiveness, as He is certainly the most forgiving, the bestower of mercy. All praise is due to Allah. He decreed all things, created them, and guided them to fulfill their functions. O Allah, send salah and salam upon your chosen prophet, as well as upon his noble family, esteemed companions, and all who follow their path until the day of resurrection. Dear Muslims, maintaining the correct belief about Allah's decrees and being pleased in one's heart with what Allah ordains are factors which purge the heart of various ills, including stress, sorrow, anxiety, and fear about the future. They are also factors which refine sincere souls, training them to not feel malice towards others because of what Allah has given them, not harbor hatred for others, not look down on others, not hope to acquire things for oneself which Allah has not decreed, and not try to outdo others in attaining the temporary luxuries of this world. When the correct beliefs about Allah's decree and ordainment took firm root in the hearts of the companions and the Salaf, they became leaders for the entire world. However, when those beliefs weakened in the hearts of many Muslims and they became preoccupied with futile argumentation, incorrect concepts, and various deviations, that led the Ummah into continuous decline, regression, and weakness. Al-Qadr, Allah's decree and preordainment, comes from His uniqueness, and it is a realm that pertains to His creation which no one has knowledge of besides Him. Delving into matters of Al-Qadr which no one can know besides Allah would lead a person to the depths of confusion, doubt, and rejection of the truth. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, when my companions are mentioned, withhold. When the stars are mentioned, withhold. And when Al-Qadr is mentioned, withhold. This hadith is sahih and was collected in Mu'jam al-Kabir by Tabarani. It means do not delve into matters which do not yield any benefit for you, or into details which are beyond what you can comprehend. Rather, your duty is to submit to Allah completely and remain pleased with Him and His wisdom in all He decrees. Us weak servants of Allah cannot grasp all the wisdom behind Allah's decrees and actions. Servants of Allah, in addition to the preceding, there are certain people who have deviated in a different way concerning this topic. They consider it acceptable to neglect some of Allah's obligations and to partake in His prohibitions. Such people use Allah's decree to justify doing this. They say Allah decreed for them to do wrong. As a result, their religious practice and adherence become weak. This is one of the worst forms of misguidance and deviation from what is correct. Using Al-Qadr as justification for neglecting obligations and perpetrating prohibitions is the very same justification used by Iblis and by the Mushrikun. Allah told us about Iblis. He said, my Lord, because of you misguiding me, I will entice your servants upon the earth and I will mislead all of them. Allah also told us, the Mushrikun said, had Allah willed, neither we nor our forefathers would have worshipped others besides Him, and we would not have forbidden anything against His will. However, Allah told us that this approach is something that is completely wrong. Using Allah's decree to justify wrongdoing is completely wrong. However, as for tests that a person may face, these are things that he should remind himself happen by Allah's decree. Our Prophet ﷺ told us the correct course to follow when he said, diligently strive to do what is to your betterment, seek Allah's assistance, and do not feel incapable. If you experience any difficulty, do not say, if only I had done this, that would have happened. Rather say, this is what Allah decreed, and He does whatever He wills. Saying, if only I had done, paves the way for shaitan to do his work. This is collected by Ahmad and Muslim. Dear Ummah of Islam, there is an age-old problem which many people have within themselves, and it produces detrimental results for our Ummah. The problem lies in neglecting to pursue the lawful means which Allah has created for us in order to achieve objectives, and neglecting to recognize the relationship between causes and their effects. There are people who say that doing those things opposes Allah's decrees and being pleased with what He ordained. They also say that if Allah wanted, He would change their condition without them doing anything. This type of thinking reflects major deviation from what is correct. It demonstrates wrong beliefs about Allah's decrees, and such incorrect beliefs have only increased weakness, regression, neglecting material means for strength, forsaking attaining a livelihood, neglecting to seek cure from legitimate treatments, and shortcomings in comprehending circumstances affecting Muslims, as well as correctly tying those circumstances to the universal laws that Allah has decreed, which remain constant and are not partial to anyone. Out of Allah's wisdom, He decreed that all things have certain causes and means which enable a person to achieve the outcome that Allah has decreed for him. That would lead to one set of Allah's decrees coinciding with another. It is established that neglecting to pursue legitimate means which enable a person to achieve objectives reflects that a person objects to the decrees Allah prescribed, and also reflects shortcomings in the thinking of the person himself. This is why the Prophet ﷺ told us to pursue the means necessary. He said, perform your deeds and do not be negligent. Each person will be assisted in accomplishing what he was created for. This is collected by Bukhari and Muslim. A man once asked the Prophet ﷺ, should I leave my camel untied and trust in Allah, or should I tie it and trust in Allah? He replied, tie it and trust in Allah. This hadith is Hasan and was collected by Tirmidhi. The Prophet ﷺ also said, servants of Allah, use treatments to cure your ailments. Indeed, Allah did not make any ailment without making a cure for it. This hadith is Sahih and was collected by Tirmidhi. Additionally, there was instance when Umar radiallahu anhu wanted to enter the region of Asham, but was informed that plague had spread in that area. Thus, he did not go there. Some of those around him found fault with that and said, Omar, are you fleeing from Allah's decree? He responded, yes, we flee from one decree of Allah to another. Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu said, I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, if the plague spreads in a certain land and you are there, do not leave it. Furthermore, if you are not already within it, do not enter it. This is collected by Bukhari and Muslim. That incident is an example of correctly understanding our beliefs about Allah's decree and preordainment. That is the course taught by our Prophet ﷺ and the one which Allah loves and would reward us for following. Have you not considered that Allah told Maryam to shake the trunk of the palm tree in order for the dates to fall? If Allah wanted, He could have allowed her to have them without her doing anything. However, Allah decreed that each thing has a cause that brings it about. In conclusion, invoke Salah and Salam upon Allah's Messenger. Allah commanded us to do so when He said, indeed Allah and His angels send Salah upon the Prophet. People of Iman, invoke Salah upon him and invoke Salam upon him as well. In addition, the Prophet ﷺ said, if anyone invokes Salah upon me once, Allah will send Salah upon that person 10 times. As a result, O Allah, send Salah, Salam and blessings upon our Prophet, as well as upon his family, wives, children, and all the rest of his companions, especially Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar al-Faruq, Uthman Dhun Nurayn, and Ali Abu al-Hasanayn, and upon all who follow their path until the day of reckoning. O Allah, grant strength to Islam and the Muslims, and weaken shirk and those engaged in it. O Allah, grant victory to your book, the Sunnah of your Prophet, and your righteous servants. O Allah, assist those who uphold your religion. O Allah, assist our brothers who struggle in your path in all places. O Allah, assist them in Palestine, Sham, Iraq, Yemen, Burma, and in all other places. O Allah, assist our brothers who struggle in your path as they guard the borders. O Allah, grant them strength, support, and victory which come from you. O Allah, make our leaders and authorities people who are righteous. O Allah, guide our leader to all that you love and are pleased with. O Allah, make the leaders of Muslims means to all that will be good and prevention from all that will be detrimental. O Allah, have mercy upon the people of Islam and Iman, whether alive or deceased. O Allah, we ask you to grant us reverential fear of you, whether we are in private or in public. O Allah, we ask you to grant us your bounty, which never comes to an end, and we ask you to be pleased with your decrees at all times. O Allah, we implore you to make us among the people who will see your face in the hereafter. O Allah, send salah upon our Prophet Muhammad and upon all his family and companions.